Good morning, it's Pete from Williams Crawford here on a little bit of a rainy morning. A little bit of blue sky coming through. Just coming into the workshop, and I thought I'd go through today to show you a bit of what we've got going on. And just see Luke is starting an MOT here. Now we have a full in-house MOT bay dedicated for obviously our customers doing MOT, so we don't have to sub them out, we don't have to give them to anybody else, we can take them in and care for them ourselves. As you say, see, it's full dedicated. And there's Luke. Morning Luke, you okay? So Luke's just going through obviously the military test. I won't try to disturb him too much because he's not allowed to be disturbed. Luke, how long have you been MOTing?
4 years.
4 years. That's a long MOT. No. So like I say, I won't disturb him, but we do have our own test bay, which is nice. It means we can look after our very own customers. Not always Porsche. Sometimes we have other brands come in. It's all dependent on what your customer requirements. So I'll go through today and give you a little bit of an insight into what we've got going on with this 996 we've got in at the moment. 996 Turbo. It's 2002. Brought into us for a full inspection, and we've come up with some items that obviously the car will benefit. Things are starting to wear a little bit, and being the turbo, obviously you want it to be definitely on its game. So after the inspection, we've done a full report to the customer. We use a drive file system on a Google Drive where we send images and descriptions. We can also cost it, so you've got full transparency to costs and how much the repairs are going to be. After that, we've spoken to the customer. We've decided between him and us, he's gone for the Bilstein coilover set, and I will be doing a video of when we come to set that up on the alignment bay, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that. But aircon condensers are being replaced, and the driver's side radiator, we discovered when the aircon condenser was off, as you can see, it's very wet and there's some pink staining on the very bottom there, which indicating that it's had or has a coolant leak of some description. When pressure tested, we did see a leak, so we've clarified that that is a failed part. So we've got a new radiator coming and then the new aircon condenser going over the top of it. As you can see, there's the aircon condenser on the other side. We've done a pair. We then regas the system. We always put in a dye, which always helps if you have any leaks in the future. It'll show the dye, makes it a little bit easier for anybody to detect a leak. We've got headlamps that are going to be machine polished when it's all finished. We'll obviously go over the car so it's presented well to the customer. I've got Sean, who's been working on the vehicle. Morning, Sean. Morning. And he's just going to highlight some of the other stuff that he's been doing, especially on the brake pipes. I must say he's done some lovely brake pipes in there. A little bit tricky, always tricky brake pipes, because we use a copper pipe, as many people do. It's very hard to get a neat copper pipe, because when they're made in the factory, obviously it's on a machine, and all the bends and everything are made for you. So he's redone the copper pipes there, which is nice. A little bit of wax oil as well on some of the areas where they go into the clips, because that's the main, they retain the dirt and the water when they go in the clips, just up here, and then they corrode out in future. Obviously the copper's not going to corrode, but it just protects it. Also, gentleman's had some little bit of damage on the side skirts, so we've got a new set of Porsche side skirts going on, which is nice. That'll freshen up the car, and like I say, we are going to be going over the vehicle and giving it a polish inside. Gentleman's detected them all right in saying, sure, we had a bit of wetness in vehicle?
Both sides and the footwells. We're replacing both the door membranes.
And what does that consist of then on the door membranes? What have we got there?
The removing the door cards, remove the old membranes, and replace with new.
So door card comes off. In behind the door card, we've actually got one here because the driver's side one's taken off. So we've got two new ones here. Well, that's not a new one, but we've got two new to go on. That is basically in behind your door panel, and that protects the, basically stops the water coming in against the door panel and getting into the vehicle. Now what we do see is around the edges, if you could just demonstrate, Sean, on that one, around the edges you do have a double-sided sort of sticky tape, for want of a better word, and that is supposed to adhere to the door. Once they start getting a bit worn, they come away from the door, and then the water basically drips in and goes into the vehicle. So we've got two new ones of those. A little bit of service work's gone on as well. Air filter, you can see there, has been replaced, nice and fresh. So yeah, it's had some work on the go, coffin arms and suspension. So like I say, I will do another video of when Sean's going to set it up on the alignment bay, and we'll go through the setup procedure. As you can see, you know, we do see a lot of GT3 RS, but it's not all about that. We have our main cars that come in are for repair, 996, 997, but one of my favourites, 987 or 986, very desirable little car, easy everyday user. Now this one's come in, the gentleman obviously uses this as his daily drive, shall we say, and he's having a bit of a selector issue. So, morning Luke.
Good morning.
You okay?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So, just a little bit of a top tip here. If you're booking something in with any garage, try and give them as much information as possible, because sometimes it's not just as easy as plugging a laptop in and then you know, hoping it's going to magically tell us what's wrong with it. So with this one, the gentleman was driving along, selector in you know, auto, and it's flashing on the dashboard saying that gear's not selected and it's defaulting to fourth gear. Now straight away, because of obviously what we do day in, day out, we automatically know that that tends to be the multifunction switch, which is situated on the side of the gearbox. Now obviously that's good for us, because obviously it's showing a fault. Is it doing it now, Luke?
Yep,
yeah, as you can see on this, when we've got it started running up there, it's saying selector you know, lever not engaged, and as you can see the drive is flashing. So that's a good symptom. It's when they don't show us that and we've actually got to try and figure out what's going on. Any fault codes?
Yesterday when I checked, there was no fault codes. I'm just going to check as it's came up flagged this morning.
Lovely.
Check again just to make sure there is.
So as you can see, Luke's using a P-Wiz 3. Now this is a Porsche specific tool. Gives us full capability and diagnostic ability into Porsche, which is nice. Now at the moment it's going through control units, PCM, and bringing up a list of potential problems, if any.
And as you can see, there's no fault code stored.
So this hasn't logged a fault code. So like I said, if it doesn't demonstrate an issue, then that would be incredibly hard. We could go out and drive a vehicle and it may not obviously fault on us, and with no fault code stored, you know, it then means we've got to go more in depth into testing and checking operation. So it's very helpful if people can give us obviously symptoms. Now we're just going to put the car in the air so I can show you where the actual multi-function switch is on the gearbox. Okay, just going in there now. We'll have a look at that multi-function switch on the side of the gearbox. Like I say, quite a common thing, so if you are having the same sort of issue, and that might be the reason, it's worth a look. Okay, so here's our gearbox, and on the side we've got a light, make it a little bit easier to see, a little bit darker. This is our loom going into the multi-function switch, which is just in behind. It's covered by this plate, as you can see. Now what that does, here's your selector rod and your cable. So your cable's connected to your gear selector in the vehicle. Rod goes in onto a drive off the actual gearbox itself. So when you select it, obviously it moves that, and the switch then actually goes around this this stub pin. So it goes around, and obviously when you're selecting, it obviously determines whereabouts the selector rod is. Obviously if the switch fails, it doesn't know what it's doing, so it defaults. So that's what we're going to be recommending as replacement. Just a little short video there of something that we've got going on. Hope you have a good day.
Well, here we are in the restoration department of Williams Crawford, and this is where we build our engines. Harry does that. Today we're just getting a transmission ready for a rally in Mallorca. Got some guards off from the underside of the car, and they're doing final preparations on one of the rally cars. So this would come under the guise of a bit of motorsport preparation, so we can look after that. You can see the engine's out. Had a new clutch and one thing and another. So we got motorsport preparation. Then we've got regular restoration. We've got what you might call classic car servicing, which is more where this car is. Then we've got restoration and bespoke, and this is a bespoke short wheelbase being built for a gentleman in ivory white. And Graham's here just looking like he's installing air conditioning. So electric air con going into a short wheelbase. We've done a few of those. So essentially anything that is required for older Porsche, and indeed some other older classics, we can take care of. Full restoration, repairs, which is probably more where that one is. Motorsport, engine transmission builds for all of them, and bespoke builds. That's what we do here in Williams Crawford Restoration.